Hey, what's up, everybody? Timmy Gibson here with a few thoughts on dating as a middle-aged person. So the funny thing about this particular video is that this is the third time that I've attempted to record this video. Actually, I tried twice yesterday and everything kept crashing. But it didn't crash until the very end. The first video was 45 minutes long and got to the end and I thought, man, that was a good video, right? And it crashed. And so I did the same video. I thought, oh, okay, fine, whatever. It didn't work. I'm going to do another video, and now I've got one practice video under my belt. And 36 minutes, I went to save it, and it crashed again. So the fact that you're seeing this video means that it worked this time. So this video, of course, is here on YouTube. Obviously, you're seeing it on YouTube. I'm creating this video for a Facebook singles group that I run in Kansas City, with just shy of 4,000 members, 4,000 singles on a Facebook group, or in a Facebook group that I have. We do monthly events and speed dating events and all that kind of stuff. Pre-COVID, obviously, we didn't do anything in 2020. And so I think in 2022, we'll get back after it and do some stuff. But I wanted to talk about dating and having spent the early 20s as a single guy and then getting married and spending 25 years married and then now being single again for the little over 2 years at the time of this video, I have a unique perspective now, or at least I guess a unique perspective, because the last time I dated, I was in my 20s. And what I wanted, what I was looking for, what was important to me in my 20s, it's just different now in my 50s. And not just because of that was back in the 80s and now we're in 2021. But also I was in my 20s, and so my thoughts and ideas and all that stuff are quite different than how I look at life now as a 50-some-year-old, 52 at the time of this video. And I have gone through quite a transformation. If you've followed my journey at all, I spent 30 years as an evangelical pastor, and now I do not hold to those beliefs anymore. And, I left that religious world. I would still consider myself spiritual, but a far cry from where I was 20 years ago, for sure, or 30 years ago, whatever. Way, 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 way different. And my thoughts and perspectives on dating, because in my 20s, what was important to me was shaped, of course, by my environment, by my beliefs, by a lot of that, right? So what I was looking for then was different because of my beliefs, but also what I was looking for was different because of my age. What was important to me then, some of those things aren't important to me now. And then I have things that are important to me now that I frankly those things weren't important to me back when I was in my 20s. So a few helpful tips. I think these will be helpful tips and tricks and thoughts and ideas to keep in mind. And I say this, I don't mean this in any kind of a derogatory way towards my life and those that have been in my life. I just think this is a great way to look at it to help you understand kind of my mindset. So I get married at 25, and let's just say I fell asleep. This is the best way I can think to put it. I fell asleep for 25 years, and then I woke up at 50, and I'm single again. And so I initially began dating kind of with the mindset of what I did and thought and whatever viewed life in my 20s. And quickly realized that I can't date with the 20 mindset now that I'm 50. And not that, okay, so how can I put this? We often talk about attraction, how important attraction is. And throughout this video, I'll talk a lot about attraction. I won't really use the word beauty because beauty is very subjective. It's, what you think's beautiful and what I think's beautiful is probably different. And as many people there are on earth, right, everyone has a little bit different perspective on what they view as beautiful. So I'm not going to use the word beautiful. Let's just use the word attraction, right? We're all attracted to certain things for certain reasons. Sometimes we don't know why. We have no idea why something is attractive to us, right? It's hard to quantify that. It's hard to encapsulate that, right? If I could put that in a bottle and sell it, I'd be a multimillionaire, right? But that is a key element in any kind of a relationship, right? If we could have a shot or a pill and give it to someone and the pill would make them attracted to us, right? We wouldn't be roofing people. We'd be dropping in the attraction pill, making people attracted to us, okay? I think there's even been movies about that, where someone put a spell on someone to make them like them, right? You can't do that. Now, there are things that you can do to make yourself more attractive, and I've done countless videos on tips and tricks on things that we can do to make ourselves more attractive. But quickly, let me just do a few highlights of things that can make us more attractive. One, being clean, not just physically, but also in our surroundings, right? Keeping a clean apartment or a clean house, clean car, all those things are important. Another thing that makes us attractive is being a good conversationalist. Being able to have a good conversation with other people. Being selfless is a very attractive trait. When you can, care about others as much as you care about yourself, or at least close to that, right? Where you're not just a selfish prick. Also being kind. Right? An asshole isn't really all that attractive. Now, some people might be attracted to assholes or bitches. Personally, I'm a heterosexual guy, so I'm not attracted to bitches. Matter of fact, that's very unattractive. A lot of what makes us attractive isn't necessarily it's not just exterior. And I'm learning this to be just about a fact here, that just because you're attractive doesn't mean, scratch that. Just because you would be physically beautiful doesn't necessarily make you attractive. Attraction is different than beauty. When someone's attracted to you, they view you as beautiful because you're attractive. And so, again, attraction is a lot about the interior. Yes, have a good haircut. Guys, shave your neck, shave your neckline. Pluck the hair out of your ears, pluck the hair out of your nose, right? There are, wear clothes that are fitting or up to what's the style is. Those things to me are a given. Those things are, everybody should know it. You have YouTube, Google that shit. Or search that shit, and you can learn about all of the grooming tips you could ever want to know. So I don't want to spend time going through all of the physical things that we can do, right? Being in shape, all that stuff matters. But going up another level, being interesting, I think is a very attractive trait. Having confidence is a super attractive trait. That's probably one of the most important things when it comes to attracting the opposite sex, It's having confidence. Now, confidence isn't cockiness, right? Cockiness is unattractive. Confidence is very attractive. And again, that sometimes can be a slippery slope where someone is actually super insecure and they overcompensate for the insecurity, which makes them then cocky rather than just confident. And I don't even know how to necessarily teach on how to be confident outside of doing things that make you feel good about yourself, having a life, being interesting. Here's another one that's a very attractive trait. Again, there are always exceptions to every rule. Always. There's always exceptions to every rule. Meaning, like what I'm going to say next, to me, that's a very attractive trait. Reading is a very attractive trait to me. I'm a reader. But it's not just the reading. It's the fact that you have some knowledge and you have some intellectual, faculties going on is a very attractive trait. And reading also helps you to be a good conversationalist because you're well versed in other things outside of whatever it is that you may normally know just because of you're a human. Those things, talents and being an independent person, being wise with your money. Now, that doesn't mean you're rich or wealthy. Wealthy's a sexy thing. There's no doubt about it. Wealth can be attractive, but just because you're wealthy doesn't make you attractive. There are a lot of things that go with wealth that really make you attractive. Oftentimes, when someone's wealthy, it means they're pretty interesting, pretty knowledgeable, pretty savvy. That's what makes them attractive. The money is just kind of an icing on the cake. But being wise with your money, that's an important thing. When someone's sloppy, unkept, not wise with their money, in financial distress, all those things are not attractive. When when you're in big time debt because of poor decisions, that's just an unattractive trait. Insecurity is very, very unattractive, just like confidence is very attractive. Insecurities are very unattractive. It's also important to, like jealousy is very unattractive, which that's also the opposite of being confident. When you're confident and secure in yourself, you can't be jealous. Jealousy is just a very ugly trait. We've all encountered people who are jealous, and it's just very unattractive. Sorry, I'm squinting. I'm sitting in front of my window here, and I have contacts on, and so it's like really bright in my eyes. So here's a few tips to get you to think about finding your person, and I think these things are really necessary. I really feel strongly about these few things in order to really wrap your mind around finding your person. One, I've said this a million times, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, it's not so much about finding the right person, it's about being the right person. So, first and foremost, the most important thing you can do to make yourself attractive to people is to know yourself. And if you have shit you need to deal with it, right? If there's brokenness, find out how to mend it up a little bit, right? We all have some brokenness in us or issues. No one's perfect. Of course, you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. So there's no such thing as a perfect person out there. And pretty much any person you meet, you're just trading off. If you jump from one person to the next person, you're just trading off what issues they may have, right? Well, this person might have this issue. Well, then this person doesn't have that issue, but they have another issue. And so being able to kind of figure out what issues are you able to handle or deal with or give grace to and have room for, that's only you can know that. And that's why it's so important to know yourself. I got a tattoo right there last year, and it says, know thyself, which is Socrates. And in my journey of being now single, getting divorced in 2019. And so now being at the 2-year mark of being single, I really I'm still in the process of getting to know myself. But really, the first year was full of therapy and lots of reading on really trying to help unpack myself, so that I could understand who's Timmy, right? Who the hell am I? What do I believe? What do I want? So knowing yourself, which then brings up these little thoughts here, like, what do you want? What are you looking for? What's attractive to you? What's not attractive to you? What are you willing to put up with? What are you not willing to put up with? And knowing those things, again, sorry, I'm burping. I can only tell you, things that I know about myself. I don't know you, so I can't talk about you. Otherwise, I'd much rather talk about you than talk about me. I know for me, there are certain things that I just won't put up with. And this isn't in a judgmental way. It's just, I know me. I know what works with me, and I don't deal well with certain things. And so for me, if someone is drama, if they're very drama or negative, a complainer, messy, like all that stuff is an absolute deal breaker for me. I'm just not going to do that. If I went on a date, and this would be weird if I ended up in a woman's car, but I'm just going to use this as an example. Or if I went to her house, let's just use that. And her house was a pigsty, super messy. That would be the last date. Like that literally would be the last date. I'm not doing that. That's just something I'm not going to do. And again, that's because I know myself. I know what my deal breakers are. So I don't know what your deal breakers are. And if you're kind of messy, then a messy person wouldn't bother you. So that's fine. But for me, that's a deal breaker. Drama. If there's super drama, and no, like I'm not a drama person. I'm fairly chill, fairly optimistic, pretty happy most of the time. And so I'm not going to be in a relationship with someone who's drama. I'm just not. And so again, that's because I know myself. So again, I can't speak for you. You got to know yourself. That's why that's the number one tip for me in this video for you and for me, all of us, is knowing yourself. The second thing is, and real quick, and so that goes back to things I've taught before, your deal breakers and your negotiables and your non-negotiables, things that are deal breakers, and you're not going to do that. And then other things that maybe you'd prefer, but there's some wiggle room, right? Because we all can grow and develop, right? And so, the right person would help you grow and develop in your personal growth. All right, so secondly, it's not just knowing yourself, but then now knowing what would work with you and what would be good for you. And that sounds a little selfish, right? And it is slightly, though the person that you're looking for, I would teach the same thing to them. In other words, they're looking at how this would be good for them, and then you're looking at how this would be good for you. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship. I don't want to be in a relationship where it's only beneficial for me. That's no fun. And vice versa. I wouldn't want to be in a relationship where it's only beneficial for them. That's not healthy. It's got to be a mutually beneficial relationship. And that's critically important. So knowing yourself, knowing what you need, and knowing what you like, how you function, what's important to you, and then knowing what you're looking for, what would fit well, and all that stuff. I think that's super, super important. Now some super practical stuff. I have talked a lot about, especially because I'm a middle-aged man, I'm 52 at the time of this recording, and I'm asked often, how is dating different as a 52-year-old compared to a 20-something? And it's completely different, completely different. When I was in my 20s, I didn't care anything about like retirement, finances, emotional security, or emotional stability, or emotional health. Like none of that stuff was even in my radar. Pretty much, I think you operate from a place of somewhat, and this isn't a judgmental thing. This is just, I think, the way it is that you're primarily feeling driven and lust driven, right? She's hot. I want her. I like her body. Let's do this, right? And then, as a middle-aged man, the attraction is important. Like I want to be able to look at someone and feel attracted to them and feel like, ooh, like I want to kiss them. I want to get naked with them. Like that's a really important part, though it's not the most important. And even when it comes to sex is important. Now, trust me, sex is a big deal. Sex is very, very important, but it's not the most important thing. One, you can learn and grow in your skills and talents and learn how to work with each other better sexually. So that sex is something that can grow and develop and get better, or should be able to, hopefully, if you have two open-minded people that are willing to learn and grow and understand each other. But it's not the most important. So here's what I often teach, and this is not from a religious perspective because I am not religious, as you know. I've talked about this a lot, and so I don't teach any kind of a, save yourself for marriage. If you're listening to this and you're doing that, that's fine. You do you, okay? I don't believe in that. And so, but I also, though I have engaged in plenty of hookups and all that stuff, right? I mean, I'm no different than you. I have done all the crazy, wild stuff that you have, I'm sure, to a certain extent. I'm a little naive, but I've lived that way. My first year after marriage, I was pretty free and wild, okay? And once I got that out of my system, then it kind of transitioned into, hey, I'm down for sex, of course, but I would like to like you before I'm going to have sex with you. Like for me, intimacy, I want to like you. I don't want to just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and they leave. Like I would prefer to be with someone intimately that then I would be also excited about them staying the night and spending time together. And then sex is also an additional part of that relationship rather than the main part of it. And so, many of the relationships that I'm engaging in now, I try I try not to have sex on the first date. I try to do the 3 to 6 date rule or whatever the rule is. Everybody has a different rule. And why do I do that? Because I want to try to establish a relationship before the sex. Now, clearly, when you're attracted to someone, yes. I mean, as a guy, I'm just going to be very honest here and tell you, like, I've been walking through the mall and I see someone and they're hot and I'm attracted to them. And yeah, I would go into the fitting room with them and have sex. Like I'm wired that way, but that wouldn't be my go-to. I would rather like, hey, how are you? Let's grab coffee. Let's go to lunch. Let's get to know each other, right? But the whole time I'm attracted to them and would want to have sex with them. But I try not to do that as the first thing, as like this is the entrance to the relationship is just bang, right? Again, I've done that. I've been there. I've done that. I could do a whole video that would be pretty scandalous of the things that I have engaged in. And again, I think that was a lot of just kind of, after being in a 25-year monogamous relationship and then now being single and being able to do whatever I want with whoever I want, I've just taken advantage of that, frankly. And you only get one life, right? So, but now that I've, worked through that stage, I realize that I want connection. Like I want not only attraction, but I want connection. I want friendship. I want there to be this whatever that is, more than just the sexual tension, which I love, but I'm looking for someone that there's something deeper and something that goes beyond the sexual part. The sexual part has to be there for me. I'm fairly highly sexual. So that definitely needs to be there, but it's not the only thing. I would like to have, an emotional connection, a spiritual connection, a connection, a friendship connection, as well as a sexual connection. In fact, again, for me personally, I have to have all of that. Like I would never want to commit myself to someone if I was like, oh, I have a soul connection with them, a spiritual connection or an emotional connection or a friendship connection, but I don't have the sexual. No, I can't do that. I just can't. And then, but also on the flip side, I can't be in a relationship where all I have is a sexual attraction. If that's all I have, then that would be more a friends with benefits type of a scenario. Like, hey, I like you as a person, and I love the sex, I love the friendship, but I can't see us, building a life together. And this has nothing to do with whether the person's awesome or not awesome, all that. You can have I've had many wonderful friendship with benefits people that have been in my life that have, like, they're still dear to my heart. And I'm sure that I'm dear to their heart. And, in that phase of my life, it was very useful, very needed, very nourishing, very therapeutic to have those kinds of relationships. But as the healing process has gotten deeper for me, and my vision of what I'm looking for has become clearer because I'm doing all the things that I've just told you and encouraged you to do, it's helped me to how can I say this? I want to be in the right relationship. And what I mean by that is I want to be with someone where I have all of those connections, right? I've also been in friendship with benefit kind of relationships with women that wanted to have kids. And, I can't have kids. I've already had two, and I've been fixed. And so I don't want to reverse that. I don't necessarily want to be a daddy again. Not that kind of daddy. No, I'm teasing. I don't want to be changing diapers. I'm 52. I want to live my life and travel and be free. Both my kids are adults. I love my kids. I love traveling with my kids. It's the greatest joy in the world. So I would not want to take the joy of being a parent from a woman who, might be a little bit younger than me and want to have kids. It's not fair. That's just not fair. Yes, is that fun? Yeah, of course. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't fun. It was fun. But again, as I became more and more emotionally mature and healthy, I realized that's not fair. Like, that's not fair. And trying to be as upfront and honest as I possibly can, saying, hey, listen, like, I don't want kids, and so I'm maybe not more than anything other than a fun night with you. And so I just can't. And the more I have been honest and upfront, the better things have gone, for sure. The better things have gone. And being honest with myself and just knowing myself. There have been those occasions where I've just thought, I just can't do this. As fun as this would be, I just can't, because it just wouldn't be fair. Anyway, I've gotten off track a little bit, but I want to, again, encourage you, look within, and write this stuff down. I think it's really, really important to write this stuff down and take a deep breath, right? Your person is out there, and typically 99.9% of the time, what's fucking up your dating life or your experience in the dating world, and this is going to be a hard pill to swallow maybe, but it's you. Just like what was fucking up my life was me, right? So I can't blame anyone else. I can't blame an ex. I can't blame the government. I can't blame, you just can't. You can't blame anybody. All you can do is look in the mirror and become the best version of yourself that you possibly can. Keep a good attitude, stay after it, stay hopeful, have conversations, make yourself interesting, look the best you can possibly look, and do the best that you can possibly do, and keep after it, right? Just keep going. Keep swiping if that's how you're dating. Keep swiping and make better decisions along the way. All right, guys, peace.